It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. A local artist workshop is helping to inspire and nurture local creatives. The Chroma Workshop is a class to familiarize artists with the aspects of color, their use, and impact in an artwork. Held at the Janice Charrett Gallery at the Jewish Community Center, I spoke with an attendee to find out how this event helps local artists with their development.
A lot of these artists are well established, but it just shows the level you can reach, and that it's so important for younger people to start to apply to these shows. And this exhibit is just one example where there's people here who are very young and so talented, and it makes me joyful.
The Chroma Workshop is a companion workshop to the current Chroma exhibition at the Janice Charrett Gallery. Local artist Stephanie Samuels tells me her inspiration for attending the event is the curator herself.
Kim Fay. I love her work, and this was a great opportunity to learn from her. I believe in continuing education, no matter at what stage you're at, and this was so exciting for me. So it's just a pleasure to be here.
Stephanie continues by discussing the motivation behind her art, as well as how community resources helps her to grow in her passion.
I'm an environmental artist, so I try to produce pieces that talk about climate change, but they can be beautiful, but still send a message. And with my titles, what this is about. This is ink on rice paper, and I was just playing around, experimenting, and that's what I do. So I take workshops, or I continue education, or I just get materials at yard sales or estate sales, and I play with them, and that keeps me continually growing.
That's community resources at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to say thank you to Natalie, Amanda, Kim, and of course, Stephanie, for allowing us to step into their artistic space. And you can keep up with their other creative workshops, events, and more at the Jewish Community Center on Facebook at Janice Charrett Gallery on Facebook. Local young artists are competing for scholarships. If you are an art lover, Art Leaders Gallery in West Bloomfield is showcasing the talent of Oakland County high schoolers with this 2025 Young Artist Scholarship Competition. Going on now through April 25th, the top 100 student artworks are on display at the gallery, selected by a panel of professional jurors. Visitors can cast their vote to their favorite piece during the exhibition. Then, on April 26, 6 to 8 p.m., the winners will be announced at a special reception. And first place will earn $1,500 in scholarship funds, with second and third place receiving $500 and $250 respectively. Since 1992, art leaders have supported both emerging and established artists, and this is your chance to help elevate the next generation. You can see more and find out more on their Facebook page as well at Art Leaders. A late fee forgiveness program is beginning in May. The 48th District Court will be holding a late fee forgiveness program beginning May 1st, 2025, and this will go until about mid-June, June 13th to be specific. The court will waive late fees, bench warrant fees, and penalties for civil infraction cases that were issued within jurisdictions covered by the 48th District Court, by the way. This includes cities of Birmingham, Bloomfield Hills, Kego Harbor, Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, and of course, West Bloomfield Township as well. For assistance in determining eligibility and the total amount that you may owe, individuals can contact the court directly. We do have their phone number, 248-686-5150 or 248-686-5148. And that is weekdays, Monday through Friday between 1:30 and 4 p.m. Take advantage of saving a few dollars on your late fees if you get an opportunity to. The Detroit Archers 3D annual chili cook-off is set to take place Sunday, April 13th, running from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. This fun and flavorful outdoor archery event welcomes participants to test their skills on a 3D target course featuring lifelike animal models. These aren't real animals, they're animal models. Archers and guests can also enjoy a free bowl of chili. This is what we came for. Available on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last. It's hosted at the Detroit Archers Range, and this shoot marks the kickoff of the outdoor archery season and promises a great mix of sport, community, and good food. For more, you can visit them on Facebook at Detroit Archers Inc. or go directly to their website, of course, DetroitArchers.com for more. Misty Markham, West Bloomfield's own paddle boarding pro, is leading elite Flatwater 1 and stand-up paddleboarding yoga certifications through the Professional Stand-Up Paddle Association. She's emphasizing water safety, emergency preparedness, rescue techniques, and more, and this will be done out on our local lakes as well. So joining me right here live on The Splash to give out a little bit more information is the owner of Luna Moon SUP, stand-up paddleboard, Misty Markham. How you doing, Misty?
Good. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Yeah, you like that energy in that intro. I see that right there. So I see that we have this this certification class. I want to talk about that, but before we do, let's add some context, right? So many beautiful lakes right here in our greater West Bloomfield area. I want you to tell us what makes our community a special place for people to learn and just practice paddleboarding safety.
Absolutely, because there are so many lakes and a ton of places to go and enjoy them, including our even bigger Great Lakes. And, you know, what's more important than knowing what to do in an emergency situation, or just to be able to teach like your other friends and that kind of thing. The training is pretty intense, I will say, even if you decide to do just the Flatwater 1 portion of it. And, there's anything can happen at any moment, right? And we're just trying to, even if you weren't interested in getting a full certification certificate, let's say, that weekend I am providing at least the fundamentals for people to join, and that may mean that they already have some paddle experience being out on our waters, but want to take it a little bit further and making sure that they're doing it safely and wisely.
Oh, yeah. Anytime we're around water, we want safety first and foremost, and then the fun can come after that. So, okay, so that sounds good. So let's get into your inspiration, right? What inspired you to become a Professional Stand-Up Paddle Association certified instructor?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, I've always loved the water. I've been a water kid my whole life. But, with safety, with all the fun, just like you said, not to take all the fun out of it, there's still, a water safety portion of it. And the manual is pretty thick. It's intense book. So not only are you learning to perfect your paddle or to do it correctly and then to teach others as well, back to the water safety portion, just rescue techniques, learning hands-on, getting real-time feedback, and being able to practice on one another. It's pretty vital, and it's what a great way to do it in the summer when it starts to get pretty hot. Last year was pretty warm, and we were happily to get in the water and start practicing those techniques on each other.
There you go. Okay. So that kind of leads me into my next inquiry. Why did you decide to want to teach others how to be instructors like yourself?
Yeah, well, it's funny because we do so much stuff online now. And even back when I was doing my own research as well, there were some YouTube videos starting to come out so that you could get an idea. I searched a lot of times for someone or anybody to answer a lot of questions about even just gear. Do I have the right board? Am I setting this up right? Maybe my paddle, even that kind of thing. You can only learn so much online. And when I
Yep.
did my research and I found where I wanted to go, I had to go all the way to San Diego with a board, a GoPro, and a notebook. And, I came home with a ton of information, some great contacts of people who wanted to be in the sport just as much as I did.
Mm.
And it's just having respect for the sport and just learning, more intensely.
There it is. There it is. So bringing more people into, giving away the secret sauce, essentially, but we're doing it for a great cause. I love that. With me right here live on the Splash, by the way, owner of Luna Moon SUP, stand-up paddleboarding, Misty Markham, talking about her new certification classes for you to be a professional stand-up paddle association certified trainer right here in our Greater West Bloomfield waters, of course. So let's talk about the training. Of course, so you talked about the seriousness of the safety. You talked about how thick the book is. That seems very, very serious, but it is necessary. So how do you balance the training, the fun part of the training, paddleboarding, with the water safety and emergency preparedness?
Absolutely. Like I was saying about having that serious part of it, but taking it on the water and just practicing on each other and having fun with it. I've watched other videos as well where they're doing the same training. There's a flip technique, so you get in the water and you flip the board, and you're trying to get maybe the victim back on. Maybe they're conscious or unconscious, and it does become a little fun while you're still practicing those serious techniques. You may discover some things, like, oh, wow, my watch got in the way while I was trying to do the flip rescue because you're reaching for each other's wrist, right? Um, the other thing too is just even setting up your gear and the paddle, like I said, holding it and then the proper technique and, being 101 in front of people, you still have fun with that no matter what. You bring up a scenario like, okay, what if? Right? And you look out at the water and you
Yeah.
try to paint a little picture of maybe a little wind coming from this direction. Now we watched over there and the wind changed. So what are we going to do? And how do we prepare for those types of scenarios on the water?
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. It's being alert to your environment, like you say. If everything is good and steady and we're checking everything out and it works, then go ahead and have your fun. But essentially, like you said, just be aware of your environment and all the different situations that could factor into water safety and emergency preparedness. So great for the context right there. I want you to explain this. If I'm not mistaken, there's two different certifications or classes that you're doing. You're doing the Flatwater 1 and then the yoga, SUP yoga. Can you talk about this? Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Flatwater 1 technically is going to be all of those things I just mentioned about learning the gear, all the way down to holding your paddle,
Okay.
proper technique, how to teach others, and then the water safety part and practicing on each other. Once we kind of have all that down, and you want to take it a little bit further, the sub yoga portion is like part 2 essentially. You still have to have some requirements in there as well, like your 200-hour training on land and just being able to lead each other with poses, because now we're adding the water element. And again, back to our fun part where we, teach someone these poses and technique on a paddleboard that's wobbly in the water. And so, yeah, it is a part 2, like I said.
Oh my goodness. When I saw that, I said, am I reading this right? We're talking about yoga on a paddleboard in the middle of the lake. Can you just talk about that experience in general for people that may have done it, like doing it for the first time? What is that like? Yoga on a paddleboard on a lake.
It is so much fun. I mean, really, you've just taken away the 4 walls of being like in a studio. The boards I have they are pretty, they're inflatables. They sit pretty high off the water, probably about 3.5 inches off the water. So you're not sitting right in it, but it is a soft space for your knees and hands. And, in my scenario, I have a pod, so they all connect around this pod, and we become this floating studio. And it's nice because when what is a little more challenging on the water, seems easy on land, and people applaud each other and say
Yeah.
that was great, and then you'll have somebody else who wants to take it a little bit further and go into headstands, and it's all
Ooh.
just situational. It's open for any age, any type, as long as you just have an open mind about it.
Ooh, wait. Now, if somebody's doing a headstand on a paddleboard in water, you are way too advanced for me, and I love to see it, to be honest with you. With me right here live on the Splash, by the way, owner of Luna Moon, stand-up paddleboarding. We have Misty Markham talking about her new certification classes for flat water training and stand-up paddle yoga training as well. Very, very interesting courses and activities in general. Can we just talk about, I guess, the why someone should sign up for this? What ways do you see this training benefiting the greater West Bloomfield community, either from a wellness or a small business perspective?
Yes. Now, the certification itself, I mean, that's going to be a more intense type of person, maybe, that would want to know all the details, every single bit of it. And then, of course, yoga is going a little bit further. You might want to do maybe flat water 1 first before you did yoga. And you may just want to stick with flat water 1, and that's just as fine. But this year, I am offering on Saturday just a portion for people who want to be more like in the fundamentals. So maybe it's not a full certification, that's a lot of commitment and time, I understand, and you may want to ease into that. So this is like a little bit of a level where you're getting a little bit of a taste. And like I said, not to receive a paper certification or anything like that, but to show up and, hey, be with the trainees and see what it's like, and still walk away with a piece of knowledge on having a more of a proper paddle technique, water safety, obviously another issue, and then just maybe to teach like some of the, because we live around so many lakes, teach their neighbors or friends or their family that wanted to try it, but are still having a lot of trouble and they're not really sure why. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people can just stand on it backwards and they didn't realize they're on it backwards.
Right? That would be me right there. I don't even know which way it is. That's interesting. Okay, I don't want to hold you up too much more, Misty. I appreciate the time. Lastly, any advice for someone watching or listening who may be interested in the sub-instructing but maybe not even 100% sure? What would you tell them?
I would say reach out to me. I mean, I have a lot of experience, a lot of resources, and you just, simple call, visit my website, lunamoonsupyoga.com, and we can talk about certain things. Everybody is at different levels and have different questions and needs, so I just try to be flexible.
Yeah, be flexible, and be open-minded as well, and we appreciate you. Can't wait for the weather to officially break so we can get out there on that water. Once again, owner of Luna Moon, stand-up paddleboarding, Misty Markham, thank you again.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it.
Definitely a pleasure and an honor to speak with you as well, Misty. Find out more on her website, like we said, lunamoonsupyoga.com for more information on her certification training and more information. Global warming and climate change has been a hot topic, no pun intended, worldwide. But how should we look at the issue as residents of Greater West Bloomfield? I actually spoke with Joel Brown, a local resident who was appointed to Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, to tell us about his work and explain more aspects about climate change. Local resident who was appointed as a leader of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, Mr. Joel Brown, joining the Splash. Thank you for being here, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me today.
Man, we appreciate that first and foremost. Ready to pick your brain of all the knowledge that you do have, sir. But first and foremost, I want to talk about a piece of work that you've done and put out there already. It's on YouTube. It's called The Bigger Picture, Climate Change by Joel Brown. Why don't you just give us an overview of what this content actually is?
Well, it's basically to address two things. One is to explain that what is going on is one of the most profound moments in history of man,
right?
And to explain what it is and how it works. And then there is the addressing of how one approaches it, find something meaningful and purposeful in it, and the best way to cope with it, because it's an issue that creates a lot of anxiety in people. And we want to be able to overcome that so we can feel not depressed and anxious, but we will be able to have self-esteem, have active action, be able to have agency, and basically avoid the depression and have enthusiasm.
Yeah. Well said overall. Looking forward to sharing that piece of production with the rest of our audience as well. And just in case they want to go check it out, The Bigger Picture, Climate Change by Joel Brown on YouTube as well. So I want to kind of localize this global talk of climate change first and foremost. How do you see the accelerating pace of climate change impacting our local residents in Greater West Bloomfield? Are there any signs we should be attentive to?
Well, a number of years back, we had a tornado in West Bloomfield. That's considered to be an extreme weather event, something you don't have control over while it's going on and until it's finished doing its thing. So we've had 15, 16 tornadoes in the state of Michigan in the past year, and we've already had that many already. So we're having a acceleration in the numbers, intensity of these climate change events. And every township needs to be mitigating and preparing and having a mindfulness so that when these things happen, and it will happen everywhere, sooner or later, we're going to have exposure to these things, that we can manage it, be prepared for it, and try to slow the causes of it so that we have time to actually get it stopped and worsening.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you something right now. If I see a tornado or if I'm around a tornado, I know something's definitely wrong with the climate and the weather and global warming in general. So, yeah, that just seems like one of the most obvious things that we can look out for to know that there's something wrong for us to talk about and to do some things with. So I want to, no, go ahead. Were you going to elaborate a little bit more?
I'm just going to say, well, we've had tornadoes forever, but
right.
The point is that they are multiplying in frequency. They are growing in intensity and worsening because of
there you go.
The carbon emissions that we are putting up that human beings are putting up into the atmosphere. And we have to stop this or it's going to continue worsening until it's no longer a habitable place to live in. So we're the ones that are doing it by mistake, how it happened, but it's happening and it continues to happen. And this is our responsibility now.
Right. No, well said. And with that being said, if I'm not mistaken, I want you to take this time to correct me on something. When I was consuming some of your content, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned climate tipping points. I want you to elaborate a little bit more on this. Are those tornadoes a sign of that? Explain what climate tipping points mean.
No. A tipping point has to do with a process of life. In other words, look, we're all born, we grow, we're stable, we're healthy. As we age, we start deteriorating and things start happening. When a person or a species or what's called an ecosystem that supports life starts breaking down, what happens is it deteriorates because of the climate or the various conditions in the environment. It can accelerate. And as it accelerates, it all of a sudden accelerates very quickly and went fast. And then it collapses and goes into runaway and breakdown. And that's it. That's the death. So that happens. We know that happens with people. It happens in nature. And our ecosystems that we're dependent on to keep us alive on the planet are deteriorating. And if it crosses, like when you, if you boil water, and it's for a long time, it can be cooking, and all of a sudden it's boiling and it is emitting gas instead from the water.
Correct.
So that's a big change. Just as an example. Or you could stack bricks, let's say, not bricks, but block. And you get going up, keeping balance, but all of a sudden the top block breaks down the whole thing and it collapses. That's an acceleration. So when you have the tipping point, it's in a process that we don't want to pass the tipping point, because then you are in danger of going into not only acceleration, but a runaway and breakdown.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm going to be honest. You painted that picture very clear for me and our audience. I want to say that. And I got to be honest, sir, it sounds like extremely bad news, which it is. But is there any good news? Is there any positives that we can take out of this conversation?
Oh, yes. Yes. I think the first thing is, you're absolutely right. It is a cause for anxiety and fear and anger, all those kinds of sadness. And that's a normal human reaction. And part of the response, see, here's the thing. If you want to be in denial to maintain optimism, that's a strategy that's okay as long as you're doing something to stop it. But if you go into denial and do nothing, you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
So the real response, instead of denial, which is very dangerous, is to engage it. And the first step with my talk is basically to get people started on what I call level 1 and level 2, which has to do with their home, in their community, with people, their family that they love, and friends, the community, and they have people who will help support them and be participating in activities that make things better. And then the second stage is doing something in the county or in the state. And I will give you a couple suggestions for the audience. When you're ready, I'll give you a couple of things you can do right here in the local area to get yourself involved.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, we are going to dive into that. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, local resident and someone who's appointed as leader of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, Mr. Joel Brown, speaking to climate change, global warming, and his project, The Bigger Picture Climate Change, on YouTube as well. Now, I just want to ask you this real quick before we get into some of those resources and things that people can do.
Sure.
Locally, in our greater West Bloomfield area, we're known for our bodies of water, our lakes, and things of that nature. What are some of the effects we'll see with, or possibly see with some of our lakes, our bodies of water that we enjoy, due to the causes or the effects of global warming and climate change?
Well, let's take something in a much more constructive way, because there's a lot to explain in the science, and we don't have the time right now.
Okay.
But I do want to say, you've got activities that will engage and improve the water, the air, the land, and one of them is West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation. You just go onto the website, wbparks.com. You'll find some things there. And if you need to call up the Parks and Rec folks, they're happy to help you get active. Now, besides that, they're a part of another organization called Turn Oakland County Green. And not only them, but one of the organizations I mentioned in my talk is SierraClub.com. And you put in whatever state that you're in and then the word chapter. So it's SierraClub.com/ we'll say Michigan chapter. And it comes all the chapters in the state of Michigan that you can get involved with. And they do everything from going to the state capitol and talking to the planning, talking to the legislatures, planting trees, working on cleaning up the lakes. If your concern is air pollution, whatever you have an interest in.
Right.
In your personal relationship with nature. And if you don't have a personal relationship with nature, that's critical. You have to realize this is the mother, of us all. And in this regards, it's something sacred about it. Life, nature, mind, animals, human being, all the mammals, millions of species. It's a system, and we have to treat it like it's a living thing, not just something to exploit. You understand? So we talk about that in the talk. And this is a change in attitude. And it's our responsibility now to balance our needs with nature and taking care of it. You know, national parks, you can't take anything out of the park. You can't damage the park. You have to stay on certain trails. The same type of thing. We have to start have an ecological consciousness, they call it, a consciousness of nature in our relationship to it. And if we brutalize nature, as we have been doing, we are going to, it's like being on a limb of a tree. You cut the limb down. Are you cutting the limb? You're going to fall.
Yeah. No, I love the way that you're relating that and making it more personalized as well. A topic that is global with that being said. And WBParks.org for more information regarding WB Parks, West Bloomfield Parks, and their initiatives and program. Mr. Brown, love everything that you've given us. Appreciate your time. Lastly, before I let you go, I think this is the most important. What message or call to action would you like to share with our Greater West Bloomfield residents to inspire them to take part in the global fight against climate change?
Well, the thing I want to say is that you need to take a look at yourself and what do you love? Is it nature? Is it mankind? Is it your kids or your grandkids? Is it children of all generations? Whatever you love, that gives you the purpose. This is what this is first and foremost about. You do something that you feel is something that's love-worthy. And when you're doing this work to deal with these challenges, you have a purpose. You bring your talents to it. You're working with other people who you're supporting. They're supporting you, and they're admiring you. Listen, you want to have self-esteem and you want to have energy. You don't want to go down the hole doing nothing. That's the most important inspiration. Is for your mental and physical health and that of your family.
I will 100% agree. Take care of the things that matter most to you and find your why within that, and then we can all have a better economy or ecosystem, I should say, and community as well. I want to thank you so much for your time and your extremely valuable information. Once again, local resident who was appointed as a leader of Al Gore's Climate Reality Project, Mr. Joel Brown. Thank you again.
Thanks, Kevin. Bye-bye.
Once again, I want to thank Mr. Joel Brown for his time and his information regarding climate change. And Earth Day, by the way, is Tuesday, April 22nd. And you can enjoy plenty of local activities, including an Earth Day celebration with WB Parks. For more about that, you can go to WB Parks Facebook page at WB Parks or go directly to their website, WBParks.org. If you're looking for something to do outside, specifically if you enjoy physical activity, I may have the perfect thing for you. But first, we are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
So much is happening in your community. Join Jake, Tyler, and Kevin for local events and developments on The Splash Live, weekdays at 10 a.m. on CivicCenterTV.com, YouTube, and Facebook.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on CivicCenterTV.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at CivicCenterTV.com and click Schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for being here. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. The Detroit Free Press Marathon Training Series is stopping in Greater West Bloomfield, offering local runners a chance to join the official Road to Detroit training community for the Detroit Free Press Marathon, which was recently voted #1 in marathons in the entire country by USA Today's 10 Best Readers' Choice Awards. It topped marathons like New York and the Flying Pig. So with me right here live on the Splash, talk a little bit more about this running group. From the Detroit Free Press Marathon Customer Service Team, we have Jeff McBain. Thanks for being here, Mr. McBain.
Kevin.
Yeah, so first and foremost, congratulations on being voted #1, the Detroit Free Press Marathon. With that being said, why do you think, what elements do you think went into effect for the Detroit Free Press Marathon to be voted #1 in the country?
A couple things that really stand out for our race compared to other events is we're able to go from the United States to Canada over the Ambassador Bridge, which gets amazing views, and with the sunrise over the Detroit River, you're able to see that as you cross over into Canada, as well as the world's only underwater international mile when you go from Canada back to the United States under the Windsor Tunnel, as well as the crowd support and the activities, everything leading up to race weekend that we have going on. We try to make it as accessible and as fun and exciting for everybody involved.
I'm gonna tell you something, Jeff. I saw those pictures from the marathon, and I saw going across. I said, is that the Ambassador Bridge? Yes, they are running on the Ambassador Bridge. Not too many other markets can offer that, Jeff. So I agree. That makes us extremely unique, and I love that. All right, so I'm not 100% on this. I believe a marathon is 26.1 miles, correct?
Close, 26.2 miles.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Close.
Adding a little bit more to it. So with that being said, that's a lot of running, a lot of mileage to cover. So I understand the training or running groups that you all have. Can you explain how hosting a group run in West Bloomfield contributes to building momentum for the Detroit Free Press Marathon?
Sure. We have the Road to Detroit group runs, which is an all-encompassing group run where people of all paces and abilities are able to come out and participate. We make sure that everybody knows at least somebody in the group run so that they can partner up if they haven't been with a group run or wanted to participate with a group for running experiences. This is a great opportunity. We like the West Bloomfield area for one of our group runs because it's got the Pontiac Trail, which is an amazing spot for people to go on and run, and it's not on a busy street or in a subdivision. And it's also in such an area where we can get people coming from all different parts of the West Bloomfield surrounding areas to come into West Bloomfield, join the group run, and be able to experience the magnificent Pontiac Trail.
See, okay, so I'm glad you said that, right? Because that was going to be my next question, asking why even choose the suburban areas of Metro Detroit for the training rather than running in the actual city? I would think that would make sense, but I'm going to be an advocate for our own trails and our own parks right here. I think they're beautiful, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. I can agree with that as well. So let me ask you, this being like a training series or something like that, and I know this isn't the first time that you all have had this event. What kind of impact have you seen these community runs have on newer runners or those just getting into the marathon training in general?
Sure. A lot of people that come out to the group runs are able to meet people that are also going through training with them. So they're able to experience the same the successes and struggles or achievements along the way. And a lot of friendships are able to be formed as part of these group runs. The group runs also give an opportunity for people to ask questions because all of our group runs are hosted by ambassadors. They're able to ask questions about the race, anything regarding things anywhere from like fueling or water stations or just trying to help give more of a better sense of calm for those participating in the event for the first time. So it's definitely a really fun opportunity for people to come out and join.
Yes, man. Oh, man. I think it's very beneficial for people who are, enthusiasts of running, especially running outside. And like you said, if you do want to prepare for that marathon, I think this is a great way to do that. With me right here live on the Splash, by the way, from the Detroit Free Press Marathon customer service team, we have Mr. Jeff McBain talking about the Road to Detroit Free Press Marathon training group run happening in West Bloomfield, the West Bloomfield Trail, as a matter of fact. We're getting to more details regarding that very, very soon. But I want to ask you, just to encourage people, for someone in West Bloomfield who's never running a marathon or even a half a marathon, what would be your message to encourage them to come out and try a group run like this?
If somebody is brand new to group runs, brand new to half marathons or marathons, that can be very intimidating. The way that we structure the group runs is we try to make it so that it's not intimidating. We try to make it more of a fun social event so that way we can cover miles, because at the end of the day, 1 mile is 1 mile, 1 kilometer is 1 kilometer. It doesn't matter the pace. We want to be able to make that connection so that people can maybe form friendships to join up later on during the week, and they can run together. Not necessarily an actual sponsored event from the Detroit Marathon, but some people meet up and they like each other and they're able to go and run with themselves. But it's very, very much just trying to get people out there and get people moving. We don't have people, we try not to have people run by themselves.
Okay.
We try to partner them up. There's usually a group. We make sure the ambassadors that are running the group run are also there to make sure everybody's accounted for from start to finish, so that if somebody gets lost or injured along the way, we know that something has happened. So it's not, you're never completely alone. And we try to help you out as much as possible.
I like that. I like that too. It's a safety factor into that, as well as just a social factor, so it makes sense. Hey, Jeff, man, don't want to hold up too much of your time. Want to let you go, but I appreciate you. Lastly, the most important information: who, what, where, when, and why of the actual event for people who are interested, please.
Sure. We've got our West Bloomfield Trail Run coming up next Saturday at 8 a.m. We are going to be meeting at the CVS location at 4295 Orchard Lake Road. Our ambassador this year that's going to be hosting the group run is Courtney Chase. We're going to be able to get out there. Group run starts at 8 a.m. We're going to be going out. You can run more distance than what is planned, or you can just run whatever you're able to run. It's going to be an out and back course, so please come out and enjoy the scenery, the beautiful Pontiac Trail, ask questions about the race, and don't feel intimidated if it's your first time going out for a group run. We do welcome everybody of all paces and abilities.
There it is. And I think Courtney Chase is the perfect name for somebody reading a Road to Detroit group run in West Bloomfield. Once again, from the Detroit Free Press Marathon customer service team, Mr. Jeff McBain, we appreciate your time, sir.
Yep, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Yes, and we'll continuously keep you updated with more events that you can be a part of as well, to get you outside and enjoying this weather as well. Al Carmichael is a musician and Sylvan Lake resident who has a unique perspective as an artist due to his early start in the field, as well as his experience. We actually got a chance to talk to Mr. Carmichael to tell us about the Songwriter Showcase he'll be at, as well as his advice for developing artists in Greater West Bloomfield. We have Mr. Al Carmichael. Thank you for being here, Mr. Carmichael.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
So I've read a little bit about your story, about your career and your journey. and a very remarkable journey nonetheless, from national tours to living here right in Sylvan Lake. What makes this community special to you as a musician and a neighbor?
Wow. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is there's a peacefulness here in Sylvan Lake. I've lived here since probably 1981, and it's just been a wonderful place to live. There's never any problems. People treat you great. It's very laid back. People are friendly, and it's just a nice place to be. You don't have to really worry about too much Sylvan Lake. So
I'd agree with that too. Nice and tranquil and calm and peaceful, and you can't complain. I want to ask you, let's go ahead and add some context to it right now. Just give a brief overview of your musical journey and how it started. Because just looking at a few notes, I see it started way, way early. You began playing at 1, played your first gig at 15. Please continue.
Kevin, that's a typo. It should have said 11, not 1.
Okay.
I keep trying to tell people to change that. I don't know where they get this particular.
I was going to say, that's incredible.
But I started when I was like 11 years old.
Okay.
I had some friends that lived across the street from me. I lived in Farmington at the time, and they had guitars lying around in the house, and I would pick them up and I would hit a note and fret a note or something on it, and it was just like there was a whole mystery behind that with the music. And the same, I used to play piano, but I'd never had any lessons. And I was fascinated by the music, but I never understood it. It was like it was all a big mystery in there. And so one day I asked my mom and dad if I could take some guitar lessons. So I came home with a classical guitar, and it just consumed me. Just from that point on,
nice.
That was the road I went down. I dropped wanting to build hot rods and play baseball and everything else. I just got into music. It was my thing,
I'm not mad at that. But like we said, we also know that you, besides your early stages of being a musician, you've traveled and done a lot of different things too. Can you speak to that as well?
Well, the traveling, most of the traveling was either to go to Nashville. I wrote with people in Nashville, or early in the 70s, I did a lot of, I guess it was just in a band, and we played all over the place. We'd play like Traverse City in Holland, or Lima, Ohio, or, and earlier in the 70s, I played with a guy named Peter Bowen, who ended up becoming a novelist later on, but we used to travel to like Champaign-Urbana and different places, Kalamazoo. There was a lot of just, the gigs were not all locals, I should say.
Yeah. Nonetheless, it was still part of the journey. I'm pretty sure it was a lot of fun, a lot of great memories there. And you did something a lot of people don't necessarily get to in their creative or musician, their careers as musician. You got to a point of traveling, taking your talents to different places to showcase it and put on big stages. So I want to applaud you for that, for living out your dream and achieving some of those goals. But I want to kind of talk about the contrast between your early years performing in studios and on these stages to now you're doing more intimate shows right here in West Bloomfield. Speak to that and how that feels.
It's all good. I mean, the thing that we're going to do on Saturday is basically, it's kind of called a songwriters in the round thing.
Okay.
This particular case, we're going to have 3 songwriters. We're going to have Jeff Scott, Julianne Ankley, and myself. And what we do is we just have our guitars, and we set up on stage, and one will play a song, and then we pass the baton to the next person. They play a song, then the next, and then it comes back around.
Okay.
So we do that for about an hour and a half. And that is a very intimate thing because, it's like if you remember the days of the MTV Unplugged, where rock guys or whatever would come out and they would just play their songs acoustically. It's very stripped down, you know, so the song becomes more important than the record or anything else. So that if you don't have a good song to begin with, it really doesn't matter how much production and music you pile on it. It's still not going to be a great record.
Good point.
You know?
Yeah.
Unless you've got the underlying, you know, foundation of a song. So
Yeah. No, go, please.
that, in contrast to, say, playing in a band, like last Saturday, I played at the Penn Theater with a guy named Jeff Phillips, and he does a tribute act, a Elton John, Billy Joel thing, and I play all electric guitar in that. So I'm part of this band, and all really strong musicians, and that's a whole different thing, you know.
Yeah.
The songwriter showcase thing is very much a stripped down thing. I mean, every once in a while, somebody that you're playing with will join you and maybe play a solo or something, but generally it's just you and your guitar.
Yeah.
And
good vibes, good energy, good frequency, people building off of each other. It just sounds like a great time and a great atmosphere in general, just for creatives in general. So I love that you're having that experience as well. And with us right here live on the Splash, by the way, Al Carmichael, musician and Sylvan Lake resident, talking about performing at the Gathering House in Royal Oak Saturday, April 12th as well. And with you traveling and doing different events and just having a lot of experience as a musician in general, how important do you think local music venues and events like the one you are attending this weekend, how important do you think they are in building community and nurturing talent?
I think it's really important. We've, you know, on one hand, due to things like streaming, music itself has been very much devalued. You know, if you want to listen to, you've got Spotify or Apple Music.
Yeah.
You know, I want to hear this, what I grew up with in 1970. You ask it and you get it. So it's basically, it's killed sales of you know, music, vinyl, CDs. I don't know if they're still making cassettes. You know, so and another thing related to that too is, right, when I grew up, there were 3 television channels. There, here in Detroit, if you wanted to listen to pop music, there were 2 stations. There was WKNR and CKLW.
Okay.
And everybody listened to this. Like, I went to a beach one time and I was walking down the beach and I would hear a song on somebody's transistor radio. I'd go to the next walk a ways. I'd hear the same song on another one. Everybody was tuned into the same thing. So music was a much bigger part of the culture growing up for me in the 60s, 70s, even in the 80s. It started to change in the 90s. And now, you know, like bands used to go out on tour to promote their album. Now they make an album to promote their tour because the albums don't really sell.
Man.
And so, you know, I think it's important. I think music is an important human thing that needs to be kept alive in one way or another. And despite, you know, the struggles with technology and how things have changed as far as the access and everything, there's really nothing like live music. I have some friends that do this. It's called an open mic, and I've done 2 of these this week. I did one on Tuesday, and then I attended another one last night at the Bachelor One, which is right over in Kego. You know, and they had a full turnout. People were just loving the live music. It really does elevate, you know, the human experience to have live, real music in the world. So
I agree.
I would say it as far as for the community and the culture, I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Bringing people together. And there's a lot of cases where people do enjoy live music, but sometimes they don't even know where to go for live music, for local artists and things of that nature, which is why we come into play to promoting things like that as well. Don't want to hold you up too much longer, sir. I want to ask you a few important questions I think our audience would appreciate. There's many young artists that live right here in the greater West Bloomfield community. What advice do you have for these aspiring musicians to try to find their voice and their audience in today's musical landscape?
That's a really good question, and I don't think there's any real easy answer to it. You know, it's when I was growing up, the idea was to try and get good enough to get a record deal, right? Well, we've come to the conclusion that record deals, the only people that make money on the record deals are the record companies.
Correct.
Usually. Unless you're somebody like, like the Eagles or Fleetwood Mac that sold 100 million records. But when you think about the number of people wanting to play music versus the number that actually break through to really the highest level, like a Michael Jackson or the Beatles, that's a very, very rare thing. So what I would say for somebody that wants to go out and do it and promote their own art is, first of all, I mean, you've got to work on all your skills. You have to work on your songwriting skills. You have to work on your vocal skills. You have to work on your musicianship. You also have to learn how to be somewhat entertaining on a stage,
Right.
That's very, very important. How you set up the next song you're going to play and things like that. That makes the experience a lot better for other people. And the other thing is networking. Go to things like open mics and see somebody that you really like, and get to know them and ask them what they're doing. And well, I'm playing over at this club over here, or I'm going to be doing a songwriter showcase over here. Or, you network with people, and possibilities open up quite often. It's that's about the only way to do it these days, really.
Yeah. Collaboration, essentially, you can't do it on your own, so you might as well find a way to find people to work with, collaborate with, build a team, and just grow from there. Like you said, there's so many different skills that you have to actually work on to be a very successful artist nowadays. It's not just making music or going to a computer. It's like you said, your vocals, your songwriting, and just your stage presence. There's so much to it as well. Hey, Mr. Carmichael, we appreciate your time. Don't want to hold you up too much longer. But lastly, I do want to ask, what can the residents of the greater West Bloomfield community do to support some of our artists who are going around trying to expand and further their careers?
Well, attend the shows. That's the main thing.
Yep.
I was referred to you by a woman named Kelly Krause. And Kelly, I don't know if she's doing it this year, but the last few years, she's raised money here in Sylvan Lake and has done a series of concerts right here at our community center. In fact, I've played a couple of them. And it draws a pretty nice crowd of people, and people really enjoy it. Some of us are on fixed incomes and don't have can't drop $300 to take your significant other out to a bit venue to see a big name act, but you can go over to the community center for free and have a real nice evening of listening to some great artists. So I would say do that. I know that the Sylvan Table here in Sylvan Lake is having music now. In fact, I'm going to be there on April 30th this month. And I think that there's a place, I think it's called Goomba. Gooma.
Yes,
and
we've heard of it.
I know they've been having a Thursday night musician thing. So that, what we can do is go out and support these events, and it's fun. There's nothing better than good live music. I remember back even in early 70s, used to be all these little coffee houses like at Unitarian churches and stuff like that. And all kinds of different people would play, and people would come. There was no drinking or smoking. You just went and listened to the music. Great experience. And the only other thing I would say,
please,
what you can do is keep an open mind. So many people now just want to go out and hear the songs that they grew up with and they already know. And they've become less and less enamored with listening to something fresh for the first time. There's kind of a trick to it. I mean, we did it naturally back in the 60s and 70s, but more and more people just want to be, fed what they already know. So keep an open mind, learn to enjoy things that you have never experienced before.
I can definitely agree with that as well. Open up your mind, your ears to some new content from local artists right here in your own backyard. Mr. Carmichael, we appreciate you so much again. And once again, if you are watching or listening, go and support Mr. Al Carmichael performing live at the Gathering House in Royal Oak. That'll be Saturday, April 12th. Doors open at 6:30. Sylvan Lake resident and musician, Al Carmichael, thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Kevin. This has been a blast.
And once again, you can see Al and other local artists perform live at the Songwriter Showcase Saturday, April 12th at the Gathering House in Royal Oak. Doors open officially at 6:30 p.m. Go out there and give them some support. And make sure you check out Civic Center TV on all social media and digital platforms as well. We are on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15 and YouTube, Instagram, and X, the app formerly known as Twitter, at Civic Center TV. And of course, you can check us out on our website, civiccentertv.com. If you're watching on Civic Center TV, scan that QR code with your smartphone to get the link. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. I appreciate you for watching and listening. We are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.